this? Is this mic hot? Okay. How about that? You can hear me? Okay, yeah, there we go. All right. Last time we were here, we met a servant named Stephen, and Stephen's task was to go out the highway and the hedges and invite people to a large banquet that his master was throwing. And when we left Stephen, he saw a man coming down the road, and he said, well, he's by himself. He's walking by himself, and Stephen didn't seem to know him, but he noticed a sack that he was carrying over his shoulder, and right? I planned for this. Okay. He saw the sack, and he was thinking, well, this guy's got to be a farmer, because we just had the season, and he's probably bringing in some grain to sell at the marketplace, which is just right behind us. So he said, let me see. I think I'm going to ask if I can walk with this farmer and invite him to the banquet. So I tell you what, let's set our sundials back 2,000 years and pick up the conversation. 3, 2, 1, go. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you again. I can't talk to you right now. I'm real busy. I got to ask this farmer to the banquet, so just hold on just a minute. Sir, my name is Stephen. I want to invite you to a banquet that my master's having. It's right down Straight Street. If you go to the end of Straight Street, you'll see a very, very large house. And when you get there, one of my fellow servants will seat you and make sure you're comfortable. And it's no formal dress. Just come as you are. You and your family are welcome. Food, drink is like nothing you ever had. The banquet starts at sundown, and I'll see you there at the banquet. Well, I got to get back out to the highway. My master is asking me to, a bunch of people still coming that needs the banquet. So I'll see you later. I hope so. Let's go ahead and go back now. Let's set our sundials back 2,000 years, back to the present time. 3, 2, 1, go. I want to read you something, modern day translation of what happened 2,000 years ago. Hello, I'm a Christian, and I would like to invite you and your family to a dinner on the grounds. It will be held this Saturday at the Winsong Church near Bridgeway, and it starts at 4:30. And there is no formal dress. Food and drink will be provided. Also, a short devotional will follow at 5:30. Please come. It's the same thing if you think about it, exact same thing. Now, I don't care if it's 2,000 years ago. I don't care if it's today or 2,000 years from now. We need more Stephanies and Stevens to stand on the highway. Who's Stephanie? Oh, that's his sister. She's working the highway 2 blocks down. We need everybody. Okay, that's a little pun about we need everybody, if you're willing to do so. Okay. Next slide, please. Like last week, we're going to have 3 brethren come up here and share from the heart what evangelism means to them. So we'll have this first speaker.
First asked me to come up here and talk about evangelism to you guys, I thought maybe he didn't know where I was from. Being from Canada, I thought it was kind of like asking somebody or a Chernobyl scientist to come up and give a safety talk at a nuclear talk. Growing up in a post-Christian country it was pretty hard. You had a lot of failures. You continually tried to outreach, and it was very hard to reach people. I'd like to be able to stand up here and tell you that you know how successful I've been in evangelism, but that just wouldn't be true. Jackie and I have always continually tried to reach out. We'd have many people in our houses, and just living in a country like that, it was just very hard. But today, at least, I thought I could just briefly summarize some of the things that I've learned. And one of the greatest parables that I've ever connected with or learned from was the sower of the seed. And Jesus describes 4 soils, right? The first soil, the guy throws the seed on a trail, and the birds come down instantly and just eat it up. And that's the people that hear the word, and Satan comes along and instantly just grabs it away from them. The second one is the guy throws the seeds onto rocky soil. And it instantly sprouts up, but because it's on rocky soil, it doesn't have any roots and it dies instantly. And this is like the people that originally received the message with great joy, but because they have no roots, turn away from the word. The third soil is the one that gets thrown into the thorns. And what happens is the thorns grow up around it and it suffocates it and dies. And these are the people that originally received the word and they grow a little, but what happens is their care for the world and their desires just destroy any word within them. And the last one is the sower throws it on good soil, and that grows up, and it 100-fold produces what it was given. And this is like the people that receive the word, grow deep roots, and produce great fruit. And I used to look at this verse a lot differently. In Canada, I did a lot of political campaigns, and Jackie and I would go out door to door. And I would think what we could do is we could determine, where we could find this great soil, and we could cut that segment out, and we could go out and just preach to those people. And then eventually, as I matured and failed and failed and failed, you realize that you're just going to fail over and over and over because you have no idea, you can't determine where that seed goes. I can't determine if it's going to land on good soil, if it's going to land on poor soil, if it's going to land on rocky soil. And I had to realize that my only job as a sower was just continually throw seeds everywhere. And I had to realize that there isn't going to be a lot of good soil. But the best benefit that we have as a church is that we can continually to throw seed, and we'll continually know that we'll fail together. But as a church and as a body, we can continually encourage each other for that love and good works, and we can keep going back out to that community. And as we continually do that together and we continually fail together, we'll grow deeper roots and greater love for each other. The second thing I always realize from this verse is that I can't change the soil. The soil's the soil. And just like today, that really good soil is so rare and it's so hard to find. And it's been like that through all of history. If you look back, there's segments where in season, out of season, it was better at times, worse at times. But the people through history just kept throwing that seed, and they kept pushing the remnant of the church through time. And it's just people like you and I, and we continually keep throwing that seed, and it's going to land on some good soil, and they're going to come in, and they're going to be part of our body, and we'll just push that church forward. And we have to keep doing this in and out of season. The last thing that I've learned through this is when I first started, I didn't realize the power of God's word. And I would approach people and I would tell them different things. I would try, maybe some C.S. Lewis and some other over here, some apologetics. And I'd be like, no, maybe if I did this with this or told them this, they would come closer to God. But then I realized the most powerful thing you can do is just give them the pure word of God. And when that pure word of God hits that good soil, it just expands, and that person's life is just radically changed. And it's amazing. I've seen people, and that's why you can't judge soil, because I've seen people, and you look at them, and you're like, there is no way. And you go and you talk to that guy, and you tell him about the gospel, and his life just radically changes. And he goes and he tells another person, and the fruit and the fold from his yield just multiplies by 100. And I think if we can just get out there and we forget about the soil. We stop judging, that's good soil, that's bad soil. And we just get out there and we continually throw seeds together and realize that we're going to fail. But if we keep failing as a church and we keep loving each other and we just keep encouraging each other to get out there, you'll have success as the body gets stronger. You'll find a few people here and there, the good soil. And then all we have to do is just keep teaching them God's pure word. And that's all I've learned. So far, a little more, but that's basically it.
I asked them to do it from the heart. Boy, if that wasn't from the heart, I don't know where that came from. Thank you. That was awesome. Next slide, please. All right, we have arrived. This is where what I've said before and what I'll say again, it all centers around these three items here. If the environment is not right, toss out time and gender. It means nothing. You're not going to talk to the person. Please pass them by. You can get a peck of trouble if you don't. So I'm trying to give you some benchmarks. You're going to get better at doing that as you go along and practice it. And you'll be able to tell, well, I better not talk to that person. Okay? You want to. Your heart's in the right place. But this says no. You got to go out there with both of these working. This gets you out in the highway. This keeps you okay out there. So you'll get in a peck of trouble. The two aren't working, stay home. Don't talk to nobody. Honest. I've been there. All right, time. On the average now, quote unquote, 2 minutes. One to meet and greet, and one to invite to the banquet, because you may get a question after that. You're going to, sometimes you, like if Lewis and I was talking, it's 5 minutes. Ex-military guys were there, about to get 5 minutes or more, right? Or, yeah, okay. So after 2 minutes, you should pretty much be, wrapping it up with the person. Gender. I'm not a threat to you. You're not a threat to me. Now, I'm talking to the guys now. All right. Coming out of the store, into the store. Have you ever done this? Guys, have you ever nodded to somebody? I looked at that one time. It says, I'm not a threat to you. You're not a threat to me. I asked my wife, do girls do waivers? I said, we don't waiver nothing. We just go by each other. So we don't do anything. I don't like that. But it's very important. I'm going to show you where the environment's wrong. I'm going to show you where the timing's wrong. I'm going to show you where the gender's wrong. I'm going to show you where all three are wrong at the same time. He said, I'll show you. It happens. So this is a guideline to keep you on the road so you don't get in trouble. It works. Now, you're not going to get it right all the time. So just keep at it and, don't get down on yourself. You're not going to believe what I'll show you what I've done. You did what? Be patient. You're going to see. All right. Next slide, please. I'm going to say this twice. In 2 minutes, you're not going to solve a problem. In 2 minutes, you're not there to solve their problems, and you are going to hear some stuff. You want to fix this. You can't in 2 minutes. And you'll get tired of hearing the word escalate. You'll get tired of hearing the word escalate. Okay? You're there to invite people to the banquet, not to solve their problems. To get them started, maybe point them in the right direction. But don't do it. You just can't do it. All right, I promised you last week I'd pick up the story where, I went to the emergency room, 200 over 100, and my nurse practitioner wife said, get in the car. That's 2 words I'll remember, get in the car. So we went there, and I messed up badly with the card in the lady's face, I did the whole thing, and they finally called me back. So they put a nitro tablet under my tongue, and I laid there for 4 hours, and go home. So the next step is a cardiologist. That's the next logical step. So we find a good cardiologist. They have some good ones in the area. And at the doctor's office, you check in, okay? And then you get a technician who, wires you up. I had so many wires, I think I get channel 7. I was just wired up all over the place because it's necessary to hear your heart in different places. So I found out I have a right branch block, right? I get it right? Right? Yeah. There's not enough blood going to a part of my heart. So I'm on medication, and, we're watching it, so far, okay, so far. So I get Jonathan. Okay, Jonathan comes up and wires me up, and we had we had several minutes. It was great. We were, just talking about all kind of things that you can think about. We talked about coming to the banquet, and when I got through and going to the next station, Jonathan says, this is great. I'm going back to the other 3 units. He rotates. I'm going to go back there and tell him about what you said to me. Okay. I said, Jonathan, would you mind taking a couple of cards with you back there, back there and giving them to people? Yeah, I'll give them to everybody back there. So it's like a visitor inviting in a visitor. It's just amazing. He was so taken by our conversation. He was so excited. He wanted to tell all his people in the other units, it's a wow. This is actually what you're trying to get. You're trying to get the message out. And here's a guy willing to do it for you, and you just met him and talked to him about the Lord, shared your faith with him. So that's probably the best it's ever going to get. I've never probably will see that again, but I just thought that was the coolest thing that he was ready to go back and do that. You're not going to believe this, but you can invite people and share your faith in an elevator. I'm going to show you how to do that. All right? Let's say this is the elevator, okay? All right. You get in the elevator, push the button, and just before the door closes, a lady gets in. The first thing I do is I take a step as far away as I can from her. Gender. I got a wife and 3 daughters. People have been accosted in elevators, the whole 9 yards. I do not want to be a threat to her or pose a threat to her, okay? So push the button, then you're going up in the elevator, you're waiting to get to your floor. Ding, she gets out, and I get out. I thought it was too much of a risk to talk to her. I thought I might scare her. A strange man in an enclosed place. I can't run anywhere, so I let her go. I passed her by. Didn't ask her to the banquet. Let's get back in the elevator. Ding, the door opens. And another lady comes in, and again, I go to the farthest part of the elevator, give her a lot of space. And she says, boy, I got wet out there. The gender changed. She spoke to me, which says to me, I think I can give her a church card because now, baby, she doesn't feel as threatened toward me. And I see the ladies going out there, yeah, okay? She talked to me first. It's vital. In close situations like that, I'm saying, I'm going to give her a card. I'm a Christian. I invite you to Winsong Church. It's, 430 in Bridgeway, and it's non-denominational. This card, front of the card says this, back. And she took the card. Okay? Environment was okay. The timing was okay. I timed myself. I can say, I'm a Christian. I'm going to invite you. I can do that in 10 seconds. Nicely. So you can invite someone in an elevator. You're going to have 10 seconds in there. So environment was okay. The time was okay. The gender changed to the positive. So I gave her the card. First lady, no, I'm not going to take a chance in scaring her. She doesn't know me. Okay. I, on occasions, invite more than one person at a time. So 2 cases of this. Make sure I get this right. All right. I invite as many ladies as I do gentlemen. I mean, whatever the Lord puts in my path, whoever the Lord puts in my path, I'm going to invite them if the environment's right, if the time's right, if the gender's right. So I'm out and about, and there's a lady, I remember, fixing clothes, different departments and the clothes. She puts them back on the hanger. She was working on clothing. So I started a conversation with her, and just before inviting her to the banquet, a fellow employee comes up. Did you see that Shark Tank episode you were so mean to that lady? I'm going, oh my goodness, I just disappeared. Now, two options here. And this happened both ways. The lady would keep going, oh, he was also mean to the guy too, and I disappeared here, so I disappeared here. It was nice talking to you. Enjoy your day. I didn't invite, the environment was wrong. She was listening to the Shark Tank. She was not going to listen to the gospel, It's a no-win situation, so you bow out of it. All right. Second scenario, the lady realizes, oh, she's into breaking up a conversation, so she's quiet. Boy, I take out 2 cards out of my pocket, So everything's right. The environment changed from good to bad to good. You got to kind of be on your feet out there. You got to this has to work. That's why you got to have this. This gets you out in the highway. This keeps you out there. Okay? Got to be together. So it worked out beautifully because I was, thinking about, okay, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? The environment probably could change on a moment's notice, and you got to go with the flow, as the kids say. You got to go with it. You'll be fine. Just think about what you're doing. Okay. I love cashiers. They are the hardest working people. They're the friendliest people that I have met in any profession. They are just working hard, bagging those groceries up. Now, I have funny sayings about greeting people, good morning. I have funny things about cashiers. I got different things. So it's a wonder you let me out of the house, right? Okay, got it. Anyway, so we're, I'm getting on the belt, and you remember from last week why I was looking left? Don't answer it. Think in your mind, why am I looking left? And the answer was, I don't want to slow up the line. I don't want to get her in trouble. I don't want to get her fired. So I keep looking and putting groceries. I'm looking every so often. So I'll make sure I still have my time to invite her to the banquet. So in this case, things are looking good, you know. I've got it all on there. And she double bags the groceries for me sometimes. And I pointed out to her because I really don't have a meet and greet here. I really don't. But I said, thank you for double bagging the groceries. And it's usually, oh, okay, you're welcome. So that was my mini, meet and greet. I broke the ice talking to her. Then I do this all the time, and it usually gets a little chuckle. Sir, it's $129.65. And I'll say, that's reasonable. And she laughs at me and says, what? It's reasonable, $129. But it usually gets some kind of reaction. Okay, so I had my little meet and greet the best I could. So I have a decision now. It looks good left. The lady's in her purse just doing something. I got my time. I invite her to the banquet. Sir, you've invited me before. Oh, no. Worst case scenario you can think of. Oh, no. That's so embarrassing. It is to me. So, how do I prevent that from happening? Okay, there's some ways you can do that. First of all, you can take a card and say, have you seen this card before? Okay, you've seen that before. Or you might want to consider going shopping at another store. Remember at the very beginning I said, for a time, go to the gas station, go to the grocery, for a time. My time may be up at the store because I'm now double inviting people. Maybe you want to go buy a gallon of, punch at another store, just something. You may want to go just a little bit to another store. And the third one is most of these people have a name tag on. So, because all I see is a face and a mask. And guys don't look at stuff as close as women. I'm just telling myself. I may have remembered her if I would have looked at the tag or if I would have asked the question. So you can mitigate that by doing those three things. It works. It works for me. All right. Restaurants. In my humble opinion, this is where you should start your highway. This should be your first place. Rarely we get an hour at it. We go out to a date. I still date my wife. At 42 years, I still date my wife. And being away from 4 kids and 8 grandchildren for an hour is heaven. It's a taste of heaven. If you got grandkids, you understand it. So we steal anytime we get. So we are going to be, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We're going to be there for an hour. We want to talk. We've never been able to talk, with all the stuff going on, phone ringing, kids sick, pick up this. So if we can get an hour out there, because it's usually then coffee and dessert, and so we're looking forward to a good time. So, now here I'm going to put you to work. I don't want to see a show of hands or blurt this out. The person waiting on us seats us. You got 5 seconds to think of what you're going to say. 1, 2, 3, 5. I would like tea and my wife would like water. What? You didn't invite her? No. There was no meet and greet here. I have a whole hour with this person. I want to get to know him or her a little bit. Before I invite them to the banquet, I want to get a little bit of rapport going. So usually, guys, pick up the check is when I say I'm a Christian, I win song. I usually do it at the end. There could be times in that hour that I could do it, but I could comfortably feel I'm going to wait till the check comes. Seems like a, opportune time. Now, I got to take you back last week again. Remember, Ben and David and myself were in a restaurant, and we were having a banner day, sharing our faith inside. They're following us out in the parking lot. I mean, it was just great. Now, what Ben and David do, they're both retired. He's a retired teacher, and you're going to like him. He's Air Force. You'd like Ben. He's Air Force. Yeah, all right. So they eat at the same restaurant. Now, he's senior, and he's, maybe 40s, 45, and so he spends a lot of time with his dad. And 3 times a week, they go to the same restaurant and ask to be seated in the same section. Okay? That's part of the strategy. Last week, we talked about one of the things you could do. For a while, go to the same places. For a while. Okay, this is for a while. So everybody knows them. The hostess doesn't even think about taking right. I'll call it section B. Right to section B without even, knows exactly. And they got a personal relationship with this waitress. I mean, they're talking about kids and, Fred too? That kind of stuff. So Sundays down the road, her husband and a friend of her husband came to Sunday morning service. I tell you, that's really something. She couldn't come because she's working. But it worked. I mean, they wanted to get to know this person well enough, and the results was their family started going to church. I think it's cool. I just saying, to me, a restaurant is, it's not hostile. You can relax. You can really have a good time and stand on the highway at a restaurant. Okay. I'm out somewhere I don't know where I'm at. I'm out there somewhere. And I looked over my shoulder. There was a couple standing here, man and a woman. I assume husband and wife. I'm going to invite them to the banquet. Why not? So I turned around, and the meet and greet, oh, we're members of the Church of Christ too. Oh, we had a little mini fellowship. You're going to find a steady number of brethren out there. When you're invited to the banquet, they're going to be part of them. And I mean, they were so encouraging. What you're doing is wonderful. Keep going, David. This is great. This is what we need. And boy, I felt real good, walking out of there, because we all need encouragement, don't we? And this is just a perk. This is a hidden perk you're going to get. Your brethren, I mean, nobody's ever gave me a negative from the church. Nobody has. And so I get my car serviced at the same place every time that I can. And while I was there, I was trying to invite this man to the banquet. He was my brother in Christ. He was very depressed. He was down in the dumps with the pandemic. He just was not getting it. This is terrible. I don't know. I'm feeling so bad. Well, I encouraged him. Somebody encouraged me. Well, I want to encourage him. And I try and make it a minute or two if I can catch him. If not, he walks by, Okay, he can't talk. That means he can't talk. How's it going? Okay. All right. I like the encouragement part. Next slide, please. In 2 minutes, you could not solve a problem. I have it at the top of every page. You're going to hear it again. You cannot solve a person's problem in 2 minutes. You're there to meet and greet and invite them to the banquet. That's why you're out there. You'll hear it again on the next page. You get in peck of trouble. Right. I've been blessed to be in 3 jail ministries because of the good Lord and that lady sitting right back there. Do you know she was white-knuckled every time I went to a jail cell? He got the key and turning the lock, isn't it? Whew, Dave's home. Thank you. He also, for the mission trips, he said, go. Oh, you gave me 4 children in return. That's all right. Anyway, let's go on, David. Okay, I will. So the first one was in a little town in the panhandle of Florida, Inverness, all right? Kind of left there on a sad note. Once a school teacher, you're always a school teacher. So I told you last, I was a school teacher in a couple of different places. So walking down the hallway, all the cells are here as I come by. Hey, Mr. D. Oh, man. And I turned to the cell. Do you remember me? Oh, yeah, I do. It's sad. I mean, it felt like I failed this kid. I really took it personally. I couldn't help him. He's in jail. What did I miss? What little clue? But I could do it for him. You can do anything for him now. He's in jail. So next ministry was in Searcy, Arkansas. About 5 guys or so. We'd go in there. Dwight, that man. I usually led singing or prayer because this guy, first person I met was an inmate. He was about to baptize, and this guy was on trial for murdering 3 people. And he is now my brother in Christ. Wow, this guy is good. So I'm not speaking. Let Dwight speak, So we go in there, and the prisoners don't see you until you make a sharp corner. So as we go out on the corner, the prisoners are shouting out names. Keith, Keith, Keith. Never shouted David or Dwight. Never heard that name in that jail. You see, Keith at 8 was hit by a pickup truck. I mean, walking is kind of the way he got around. It's very difficult. You think you know, he's still hurt. And he's fine, but he just has a real hard time walking. Don't you know if there was trouble in there, you know, Dwight and I, we could run, maybe. Not Keith. I was never worried about that brother. You'd have to fight 16 inmates to get to Keith. He had raw courage, that guy. He went in there with raw courage, and the prisoners understood that, and did they respect him? They didn't respect me, yell, David, David. It was always Keith, Keith. Because they understood what it took for him to go in there. His life was on the line every time he went in there. He still went in. Well, I see him on a regular basis. In fact, I'm going to have lunch with him tomorrow. And so I call up and ask Mama what she wants for lunch. And you hear him ask Mama, and Mama wants some chicken. I say, okay, I'll see you in a little bit. I'm going to go to the chicken place. So I drive over to the chicken place and take my order. And around the corner is a young lady I want to invite to the banquet. I've got no cards. I've got no bulletin. I've got me. I got, last week talked about leaving something to remember you. It'll be by the grace of God that this lady remembers, our 30 seconds together. But, saying nothing is not part of my DNA. I'm going to say something. So you got 5 minutes to think of what you're going to say to this lady. Hello, I'm a Christian, and I want to invite you to services at the Church of Christ. It's non-denominational. Now, if you go down Race Street about a mile, on your right is a Subway, and then there's the entrance to Harding University, and there's the College Church of Christ. Oh, yeah, I know where that's at. Well, usually 10 out of 9 Churches of Christ is at 10 o'clock. So I said, well, come at 10 o'clock. Oh, that's great. Now, he said, well, that's cheating a little bit because Cersei and the kids went to school, that's cheating a little bit. All right, I'm in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Bowling Green, got kinfolk. All right, so Keith's moved to Bowling Green, so I got to get some chicken somewhere for Keith's mom. She's 92, by the way, just a sweet lady. So I pull up to the window. I say everything the same except, do you have GPS on your phone? Oh yeah, if you GPS, you'll find the nearest Church of Christ. Okay, it works. All right? So you got to be on your feet. You got to think of the environment, the timing, the gender. Or you're going to be lost. All right. I'm going to say again, C, D, E, F, and G. You're not there to solve problems. Now, these are tougher. These require some thought, but you can do it. You can do this. Okay. Atheists and agnostics. I have talked to, I've invited to the banquet several atheists. You are going to come across atheists when you invite people to the banquet. I'm telling you as a standard, you will talk to them, invite them to the banquet. And the usual I get, and I'm saying, 6 of them. All 6 have pretty much said the same thing. I don't need religion. Let it go. I'm fine. And they just say, no, don't even take the card. Well, I would say, I respect your feelings. Enjoy your day. Never, ever, ever, put somebody down for what they believe. They have a right to their feelings. They have a right to what they're doing. They're going to be accountable for it. So never, say something negative to anybody under any circumstance. So I would just, you're entitled to your feelings. Okay? And have a great day. Enjoy your day. Now, an agnostic, I think the one study I had with a person this way was an agnostic because he was willing to talk to me. Atheists won't talk to me. But this guy did. The environment was fine. The timing was fine. And we were not a threat to each other. I don't remember one word of what we talked about. It's been too long ago. But I remember the ending. It's just like back at Mike Harris's class a couple Sundays ago, where we were having a debate, and the one thing that the debaters couldn't handle was death. And this guy hadn't a clue. I said, everybody, Stephen or Stephanie here, I said, Stephen, what are you going to do with death? His answer was so ridiculous, I'm not going to tell you what it was. What? That's how you handle death? It was just some concoction of just, at the moment, I'm just going to tell you this. So if you ever talk to a person of this flavor, if you ever get let me put it this way, escalate first. If you can't, but try to escalate. This is not a 2-minute problem. And I couldn't escalate because of the situation. I just had to go with it. I had no choice. But in your case, if the agnostic says something in the flavor, yeah, I've always wondered about religion. Hand him a card. There's a telephone on the card. Have him talk to the person, ask you want to speak to an elder. You can't solve that in 2 minutes. Don't try. You get in a peck of trouble. All right. Too much bureaucracy. Yeah, that's where we're at. So I was out and about, and there's a guy over here, and I'm going to invite him to the banquet, okay? So I invite him to the banquet, and he says, in churches, there's just too much bureaucracy and all this stuff. And I go, yes, sir, you are absolutely correct. There is a lot of bureaucracy, but not so in the Church of Christ. We don't have that. We got elders and deacons like they did 2,000 years ago. Each elder and a deacon, helps each congregation, and that's it. But you're right, there is some bureaucracy, but not with us. We have elders and deacons, and go on with the conversation about elders and deacons. That worked. Okay, E. I already have a church. I was in a hardware store. I love Lowe's. I was supposed to say brands. I said a brand. So I go in there, and I can't find a whatchamacallit, right? So the salespeople are terrific. So he found my whatchamacallit, and I invited him to the banquet. He says, I already have a church, but I'll keep your card in case I want to visit. Now, again, all the stuff I say, you're not bound by the stuff I say. If you can't say it with a clear conscience, don't say it. So I'm going to say something to him. If you can't use it, don't use it. It's got to be okay here. I said, I'm so glad you go to church. Okay. Why? Well, you remember the circles I'm talking about? Within a circle, it's easier to talk to a person if you have a similar background. He's in my circle because he wants to worship just like me. When he comes to visit, we're going to talk about worship because we're in that circle. We both have a heart to worship. Let's talk about it. What things are the same? What things are different? But I have an instant conversation when he comes to church. I know what I'm going to talk to him about. Worship, because he's in my circle. You don't have to use that answer. The next two I'm going to handle because they're not easy. They're pretty rough. This is about as rough as it gets. So, and you can handle it. You can handle it. So, you know how in a store they have a cashier, and I call it the husband's bench. You got the husbands waiting for the wives, and they're sitting there, and you're sitting on the bench, and there was a guy sitting on the husband bench. And I finished with the shopping, and I have my cart and stuff. I'm going to invite this guy to the banquet. Okay. So I go up to him, sir, I'm a Christian, and, invite you to church, and no, I don't want nothing with it. He wouldn't take my card or nothing. And I never do this again. I'm telling you what I did, and I'm never going to do it again. Never. So I pushed him a little bit. I said, well, sir, if you have a Bible at home, read the book of Acts. He went nuclear on me. I mean, he cussed as loud as he could. Every word you could think of, heard in the barracks or whatever, he used it. And I had attention, but not the kind of attention I wanted. I had all kind of people coming this way. And he was going to beat me up. You name it, he was going to do it to me. Okay? I had two things going for me. Number one, I had a cart between me and him. Number two, I'm pretty sure I could outrun him. I was in good shape, so he was going to catch me. I got out of there as quick as I could. There's nothing to be done here. There's nothing else that you can do except get out of there as quick as you can. That's the wrong kind of attention. You don't want to be in the middle of that. I'm never ever going to again go past giving a person a card unless they start wanting to go there. But I pay dearly for that mistake because I brought undue attention to the Lord's church in the wrong way. So you make a mistake, learn from it, and go on. You can't change it or you can't say nothing. Just go on. You're going to make mistakes. You ain't going to believe something. Okay, we'll keep going. All right. Give me that card. I was finished shopping. I was not bothering anybody. Everything was fine. Nobody was interrupted. The flow kept going. I was perfectly fine. So I invited the girl to the banquet. I gave her a card. And somewhere over the top, a hand comes over and snatches the card from her. Uh-oh. All right? She takes the card. I mean, she looks for backside, upside down, one another in that card. She memorized the card. She gave it back to the cashier. And I got out of there, of course, quickly. From that time on, I was being watched at that store. I'd look up, there's a manager looking at me. I'd go over here, another time, there's a manager looking at me. I figured, this is not going to work. There's people in the store I need to talk to. I figured it out. I was wearing my evangelism hat the whole time. I usually do. This is, you wear that hat. Watch what happens when you wear your hat. Take a pack of cards with you. So that's it. If I take this off, all they see is a pair of eyes and a mask. Never had a bit of problem in that store again. Sometimes, I told you last week, sometimes it's okay to advertise. I told you the T-shirts, remember and all that? This was not a good time to advertise. So I took the hat off. We're fine. They don't know who I am. I could be 1,000 different people. So you learn. Okay, we should be on slide now 20. Travel. You can't solve a problem in 2 minutes. Grandma's glasses. 94 years old. Okay? Your mom. We had a birthday party. And so, in Marietta. And her glasses broke. Okay? So, oh boy. Try and find, that little thing here on the floor. Forget it. My little niece says, oh, here it is, Uncle David. Okay, thank God for young eyes. So my brother-in-law, get in the car. I'll take you down there. He used to live in Marietta, Atlanta. So we went down there, and we got it fixed. And my brother-in-law was in the car, and I went in there. And the technician took the glasses back, all right? And while I was there's a guy walked in. And I invited him to the banquet. Did everything the same except what? I'm not expecting you to drive 700 miles to North Little Rock. This is to remind you of the Church of Christ. And I said, well, take out your phone on GPS, you'll be able to find it. And immediately he did. So you can travel and invite people to the banquet. All right, pit stop. Our son is in Nashville with 3 of our grandkids. And it's perfect because you go from our house to his house, and you get a free meal, and you see the grandkids, and you rest up. So you can go north where my people are, or you could go south where Elizabeth people are. Perfect pit stop there for us. So I'm traveling, and I walked in, invite the cashier, usually get a banana or a Coke or something to. So, Happy Easter! Top of my voice. Happy Easter. Go being friendly guy. Let's see, the calendar's November, Dave, isn't it? Yeah, Thanksgiving. I wished her Happy Easter on Thanksgiving. Can I do anything to change that? No. Can I say anything to change that? No. Boy, those Church of Christers can't read a calendar. Man, there's something wrong with those folks. They can't even look at a calendar. I'm going to be a fool for Christ. I told you last time, I'm going to be a fool. I'm going to be a fool for Jesus. All right. Pit stop. I can't remember if I'm going north or south. I'm going somewhere. So, there's 4 guys standing at the entrance to this place. Well, I fight multiple people all the time, so I'm going to take out 4 church guards, and 4. By the way, Windsong is all over this country. I mean, when I usually go, I take the church I'm working with, and so your guy's card is all over the place. But I tell them not to call. Anyway, so I'm going to invite these 4 guys. The environment's fine, the time's fine, and I'm looking at the 4 guys. They don't look like a motorcycle gang or something. They look like regular guys. So you ladies call it intuition. Us guys call it the gut feeling. I believe I'm led by the Holy Spirit. Don't throw songbooks at me now. I believe the Spirit of God is in me. I don't hear voices. I don't, none of that. I just feel God's Spirit, who I got as a deposit, is leading me. So something inside of me said, pass those 4 guys up, Dave. Pass them up. Well, I really want to talk to them. It's a good opportunity to hand out 4 church cards, Pass them up, Dave. Okay, I did. Now, at the banquet, I'm going to ask, what was wrong with those 4 guys? Was it gender? It's the only thing I can think of was gender. They may not have liked the fact that I got into their conversation. And they may have, I can't hardly take on 1 guy anymore, right, to get 4 guys. I passed them up. I did. My heart was right. But this said, no, the Spirit living in me. All right. I saved the toughest one for last. This is probably the toughest situation that you're ever going to find. And thank God it's only been one. I don't want to have another one. But I'm giving, again, everything I'm giving you there's a probability to some degree you're going to get this. So you need to know. I can't solve a person's problem in 2 minutes. Pit stop again. I'm going north or south. And I went into a burger place. Have you ever gone to a burger place where the people in the back, the cashier and you, there's nobody around? Would I miss the rush hour or something? The place is deserted. I don't know if it ever happened to you, but a couple of times. Okay. Ordered the burger or something, and I gave the little girl a card. She said, sir, my life is a wreck. I think I'm pregnant. And she went down this laundry list. Oh, sometimes I have one word prayer. Help. That's all I can think of. Help. Well, And, doing nothing is not an option. I mean, I can't walk away from her without something. So this is all I want to find out at the banquet if I got it right. I don't know. So I said, here's a church card, call the number. This will remind you of the Church of Christ. Call the nearest Church of Christ you can and tell them, I need help. She's going to have to initiate it. I can't initiate it. She knows she's in trouble. In my opinion, she has to make the phone call. That's this Dave Dominski thing. I don't know if I got that right or not. But I had 2 minutes. I'd be on the road. I should have also said, in hindsight's 2020, if you can't reach the Church of Christ, call the City Hall or the Chamber of Commerce. Call somebody. But you need help, and you got to talk to somebody. And I left her. I tell you, talk about a long car ride. It's just one of those things in life that happen. And you probably will never come up against it. Probably. And that's why I'm telling you, if you might. Now, you've heard enough from me for a while. We're going to, next slide, Matt, and we're going to hear one of the other brethren from the heart talk about what evangelism is.
We talk about evangelism and outreach, and it's not something I've ever been successful with. I know that's something we should be doing, but I always find an excuse for why an opportunity is not the right time or the right person or any of that kind of stuff. And for me, normally I'm very introverted, and the thought of walking up to somebody, and especially something like religion that can be very charged, to talk to just a stranger about that seems almost impossible. But that's my excuse, and I'm sure we all have an excuse. It might be that yours might be the same as mine. It might be that you're not a Bible scholar or whatever it is. But we all have an excuse for why we can't do that. So I was looking yesterday, football all day Saturday as much as I can. And one of course, yesterday was 9/11 too, and they had an interview with Michael Strahan, who was a defensive end for the Giants in New York during the attacks. And he was talking about how when they went down there to just hand out water and just whatever they could do to help the emergency responders and all those who were looking for people, he saw people that more exhausted than he's ever seen, that would just keep going back in and looking for more people and doing whatever they could. He thought, how can I, in a football game, in the position I'm in, how can I say I'm too tired and I need to come out or I need to do whatever when I can see these people and they're giving their all? And aren't we kind of in that same situation as those first responders are? That we're going in to a dark place and we're trying to find people that are lost, that are hurting, that need help, and we don't know how long it is that they've got. We don't know the last opportunity that we're going to have to talk to people. We don't know when their life might end or when Christ might come back, and we've run out of opportunities to reach people. So with that in mind, whatever our excuse may be, I hope that as we make this evangelism and this outreach more of a priority, I hope that we can see that what we've been called to, and I'm going to read that real quick. This is in Matthew 28, verse 19 and 20. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you, and behold, I am with you always to the end of the age. We've been given a commission that is that important. Whatever our excuse is, it's just an excuse. We have a responsibility, we have a mission, and I hope that our faith will win out over whatever our excuse is, and that we will, as we amp up with heart to heart and house to house and all the things that we're going to do for outreach, whenever you have the opportunity, or if you make an opportunity happen, whatever it is, I hope that you can overcome whatever your excuse may be. And it may be that you're just a person who's planting that seed and someone else is going to water and God's going to give the increase. But whatever it is that you have the opportunity to do, let's do it.
Matt, we're going to stay on the slide for just a minute. One other thing I overlooked is the jail ministry in Tallahassee. Like I said, I usually don't lead the lesson. I usually do the singing or the prayer. And one night, the leader called and said, "Dave, I can't make it. I just can't be there. Will you take and do the service?" I said, "Yeah, do the service." So I don't remember a thing about, going in. The service must have been all right. But coming out, there's this long hallway, and there's an inmate cleaning the floor. Okay? Now, I took another brother with me in there because I didn't go by myself. So we got to the inmate. You missed the spot. Oh, Lord, open the jail cell now, please. Environment was 0. The time was 0. The agenda was 0. That was the wrong time. I told you I would show you a place where nothing's going for you. But that definitely, and I take the blame, I didn't prep you enough. So all three have to be right. All right, now change the slide, please. All right, be accurate. I know nobody remembers. I know. My wife's trying to say something. When I was talking to Lewis, did you catch the part I said I'm trained in air traffic control? I bet you nobody caught that. Well, I never got in a tower in Vietnam. That's something called flight following. And the pilots used it. I'm going from one point to another. I'll be there 1,100 hours. And if he doesn't get there 1,100, I'm calling our air sea and rescue. If I'm shot down, I want somebody to come rescue me. So I did get into a tower, when I got back to the States. But you say that's a minor point. No, it's not, because if we have a conversation about air traffic control, every one of you assumed I was in a control tower in Vietnam. Every one of you, I bet you believe that. In the States. So be accurate is the first point. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. Remember the 4 guys? I thought it was right, but it wasn't right. Contact an elder. Escalate. You can't solve a problem in 2 minutes. Don't go there. Let's see. Don't keep count. Well, how many people did you invite today, Dave? I don't know. Well, how about this week? I don't know. How about the month, year? I don't know. Why don't you know? They don't keep count. Well, why don't you keep count? Never found a reason to keep count. At the banquet, I'm expecting a big crowd to greet me at that door. I want to know all the people I talked to and I didn't know what happened to them. I want to hear your story. What happened after I talked to you? What happened? I'm going to wait to the banquet. And I know she's thinking, we talked about there, I'm not going anywhere soon, right? I got 4 kids and 8 grandsons. I can't go to the banquet. No, they want me to go to the banquet and hang around for a while. All right, I promised you a formula, patience. Yeah, prayer, patience, persistence, politeness equals results. Mexico Beach, hurricane came through there named Michael, and it tore the place up. Less than 30 brethren for 6 weeks put out 3 meals a day. Less than 30 people in that church there. Boy, were they known in that community. Can you imagine doing that for 6 weeks, 3 times a day, for whoever walks through that door? They're giants out there, 30 strong, but they're giants in my book. All right. So I went to the eldership through Keith, said, can we buy these people some generators? Oh, yeah, elders were great, yeah, all right. So I bought them 4 generators, mid-size. And the brethren said, tell the elders up there, thank you. But could you get us 6 smaller ones? So I bought commercial size for like a restaurant to run. We need for 6 houses. Oh, yeah, we can do that. The we was Keith and Candy was the we. I don't know if you remember us doing this. Yeah, you do. So I used this right here, this formula. And lo and behold, 6 generators with gas. They had 30 5-gallon cans. All you do is put down an empty one and pick up. I mean, you're talking about a lot of gasoline. Those are giants there in Mexico Beach. I love them, so I support them and try and get with them when I can. Transfer this over to your work or life, or anything. This works. It got me through 15 years at a very corporate place. It works. Use it. Use the telephone to call the churches, I never gave anybody my telephone number. I invited somebody to the banquet over the phone the other day. You can do that. Use the buddy system. Talked about it in the restaurant. Please, if you're doing this fresh, take somebody with you. Don't, Jesus said them out 2 by 2. All right. I know what time it is, and I'm going to take 5 minutes. I have to. Okay. She's a good wife. Keeps an eye on me. I'm fine. So here's what we're going to do. I have spent the last 2 hours pretty much talking about Team 1. Team 1? What are you talking about, Team 1? But Stephanie's and the Stevens out there on the highway are Team 1. This program is not the only program. We're going to have visitors besides this program. Not everybody's going to come here because of this program, but some will. So, all right, we have visitors now. This is Team 2. I'm Team 2. We're Team 2. Remember Stephen said there was a pack of people back at the master's house using their talents, doing stuff. That's us. So when we get a visitor, and rightfully so, we say from the pulpit, visitors, sign your cards. Well, you should. All right. But an example this morning, and I talked to Lewis about it, I changed seats, and I went to another seat, and when they said, well, turn around and meet and greet, I met 2 ladies. One was a member, one was a visitor. We got her to sign the card, and I gave the sign to Lewis. Lewis is Team 3. We have a complete cycle. None of the visitors get left behind, so to speak. You got the people out on the highway, you got us here, and you got his team, which is still forming. Lewis's team is still forming. We don't miss anybody. It's a perfect system if everybody is willing to participate. You decide which team you want to be on. I got to read this to close. I'm going to close, but I got to read this because 3 guys are going to, you're going to give from the heart, but this is from my heart. I got to read it so I get it right. On many occasions, I get to invite more than 1 person in a day to the banquet. On other days, I do not get to invite anyone at all. On some days, I do not feel like going out, and I don't. I guess I'm just human. So we're going to close out. I appreciate your patience. Next slide. And we'll let Keith close us out here.
The thing that comes to my mind when I think about evangelism is just simply relationships. And I've talked about this a lot, whether it be in classes or in sermons, the fact that what David is sharing with us is getting past that initial conversation. How do we do that? What do you say in all of these situations? And I appreciate you so much for the words you've shared. But relationships are critical, and we all encounter people in various places throughout our day, a number of people, some on a regular basis. And I think for us, we have to make sure that the things that we say and do, no matter the circumstance, are bringing honor to God. And so through those interactions with people, we need to make sure that we, in our speech, in our communication, whatever it is we say or don't say, if the environment, time, and gender are not right, we need to make sure in those moments that we are sharing Christ with them. Maybe not in words, but just in our actions, in our personality. And I appreciate the fact that you mentioned in elevators, stepping back and making sure someone knows that you're not going to be a danger to them and put them in an uncomfortable situation. But think about all of the things that we do from day to day, all of the things that you do. For me, I go several different places in the course of my day. I pass by many different people, and whether it's that head nod or if it's a smile or even a pleasantry that you share, like, how are you doing, or holding a door open for someone as you're entering or exiting a store, those things impact people. And when I think about the relational aspect of evangelism, it involves a long process. It's not something from that perspective that happens overnight. But it's a long process of engaging people, sharing your life, sharing your experience, allowing them to share their experience. And that can happen. I know I mentioned this morning in our Bible class, but for our family, we are in and out of the Come and Go multiple times a day. I know that sounds bad, but we are. They have great fountain drinks, and I'll just put a plug in for the Come and Go. They have great fountain drinks, so if you like fountain drinks, it's the place to go. But interacting with the people that work there, getting to know them by name, and allowing them to know you by name, allowing them to know what your life is about. Those are the relational aspects of evangelism. And it steps, I guess, another step of just an invitation. It gives you those opportunities to continue that relationship and that conversation. And so that's the thing that really hits me in my heart with evangelism, is just relational. Make sure that you're smiling, kind to everyone that you interact with. And there's times, David, where we don't feel like that. And if you don't, I think David's right. Just don't. Don't try to fake it. Let it be genuine. Let it be who you are. That's what we're called to be, is be Christ followers. Jesus went about doing good, healing those that were oppressed, and he gave his life. That's what God calls us to do. Go about doing good, provide healing or help for those that you can, but you can't solve everybody's problems in 2 minutes. But make sure that you're living a life that tells people about Jesus. You interact with people, allow them to see Jesus living. And I know we all will do that in different ways, but that's evangelism. Well, do you have any further comments? Okay. Thank you all for being here this evening. If you have not had the chance to partake of the Lord's Supper, it is, if you'll grab some out of the baskets and go to the room to the back, there'll be someone there to assist you. Let's close with a word of prayer. God, thank you so much for this evening and the past 2 Sunday evenings that we've had to share together to think more on a deeper level about what it means to share our faith and to reach out to those around us. I thank you for David and his passion for the lost and his desire to invite people to the banquet. I pray that you would renew our passion. Father, help us to see those opportunities that you put before us and to take advantage of those opportunities. We pray that you would help us to live lives that bring honor to you. Help us to always have our speech that's full of grace and seasoned with salt. And God, we are thankful for the example that Jesus set for us. And I pray that you would help us to walk in his steps more closely each day. Father, go with us this week. Protect us. Give us an extra measure of your strength. Open those doors for us to share our faith. And Father, thank you most of all for that hope of eternal life that we have in Jesus. And it's in his name we pray. Amen. Have a great week.